Hello, everyone. This is Barbara Georgina, and I'm coming to you from the bench. This is my daughter Erin's bench, and today would have been her 35th birthday. And I don't live in this area anymore, but this is my old neighborhood in Winter Park, Florida. And I drove up here today. I'm honoring it as a sacred day, and I'm so grateful to have a flexible lifestyle where I can take this day off. I remember when I was working, I couldn't take her birthday off, but I would take the anniversary of her death off. And I just told people, I'm sorry, I just cannot work today. And I wouldn't really function in that place. And first of all, I want to give you a look around. This is just a beautiful park bench. Here's the plaque to my daughter. Oops. I'm forever grateful to Karen Marks, who had a beautiful home. They've currently moved um, on this pond, and lots of special things happened on this pond. And every Christmas, they float a Christmas tree on a pontoon in the middle of the pond, all lit up. And it's such a special, secret little neighborhood in Winter Park. It's called Chelton Circle and Chelton Lake, but to me, it's a pond. I'm going to do a pan so you can see what a serene and beautiful spot this is. And every time I come to Winter Park, to my old neighborhood, I like to come and be able to sit here and reflect. And sometimes kids have come here fishing, people have played on this pond, and you can see how quiet it is. It's really, really special. And everything is close by. And if it had been on the ocean or near the ocean, I never would have left because I really do love this town. But I'm here today on a serious matter. And I've had this concept of creating stories from the bench on the pond. And you know, it's not even just that my daughter died, but my daughter took her life at 15 years old. Think about that. I never could have thought that anything like this could have ever happened in my life, ever. And but I ended up going through a high conflict divorce, and it was a mutual decision to get a divorce. But for 10 years, I knew I was very unhappy, and waited too long, really. But I think I was very afraid to get away from this person, and rightly so. And as I knew some of the things happening right as I was getting divorced, this was 25 to 30 years ago. And there's something called parental alienation, where one parent starts to alienate and the children from the other parent. It can be very insidious. And at that time, people really weren't talking about it. But my background's behavior and early childhood education, and really I went into that because of I saw just things in my own family with my siblings and how we are being raised in different things that I just see behaviors. And I believe that when you help change children at a very young age, that's when you have the greatest effect. And so this is what just torments me now is that my child was put into such a difficult situation because it's really like cult like behavior. And parents that are in parental alienation, it's like a death sentence. It's cool today. Can you see how I have the sweater on? It got all of a sudden the temperatures dropped last night, and I'm 2.5 hours south of here in the Palm Beach area now. But look at even the branches just moving and shaking here. Um, and I can see different things happening. And it happens very quickly. And your children, it's really cult-like behavior. They become stuck in the middle of the situation, and it got deeper and deeper. And my daughter was a conflicted child from a toddler, and I kept trying to get her help, and her dad kept saying, oh, your mom thinks something's wrong with you, but her behavior was very sporadic and not normal behavior at different times. And she just was a conflicted child. She was brilliant. It was hard for her to be a kid. She was beautiful. She was very, very smart, and she really saw things in a very different way. And it was hard for her to be a child. And I'm not making excuses for her because it was very challenging parenting a child such as this. And then if you're both not on board, her dad is an accounting person and she was a free spirit person. And I'm sort of in the middle of those. um, but I've waited many years to be able to speak out because you don't want to talk about this because it alienates your other siblings. So I have another daughter, and she's Erin's older sister, and I'm a grandmother. So I thought that we were working on building our relationship over the last, 12 years. I got to be there when my grandson was born. It was never, it was always very tenuous and walking on eggshells because I can see that that person is just judging, watching. It's not fun and happy. And I really thought as she got married, and the psychologist was saying that she would deal with her sister's death really when she had a child. So I kept waiting for her to process a lot of this. And she may think she has, but I'm sorry, I've studied a lot of trauma. It's my background. I've done a lot of work, and it's not fun to do the work, and you have to be willing to do the work. And it's very, very hard, but we all have stuff. We all have things in our life. So recently, I wrote my story because I really have been cut off now, and I've been cut off from my grandson who now turned 5. And I realized that this is bigger than me. And I believe I've been called to an Erin's life. She passed me a baton, I always say, and to be able to, it's time to speak out. This is affecting millions and millions of families and kids around the world. In fact, many states in the United States are starting to declare this as child abuse because it is. The child is conflicted. They have to side with the alienator because it's very tough for them to go against them, just like it is for the spouse. And so they reject the other parent. Now they think that they know, but I've recently been exposed to adult children that finally realize. Now, let me tell you, some of these people didn't even realize until they're in their 40s or later of what happened to them as a child, and that those ideas were really not their ideas. I'm going to turn it this way because the sun keeps reflecting on my face. Um, and so I've learned from them. I've learned from them that they always realized too that there was something wrong. They realize that there are the other parent will always love them no matter what they do. Although I'm really over taking the abuse that I've really taken. And that's one of the characteristics. There are 8 pillars of identifying children that have been alienated that are very specific, and top experts in child psychology have come to realize that. The big problem is that the judges, the attorneys, therapists, guardian ad items, they don't have that education. And I've recently become part of a group because the suffering of parents is beyond, it's like constant complex PTSD that doesn't stop. Think about this. If you're even thrown in jail for a wrongful crime, for something that you didn't even do, you have the right to speak out. You have the right to keep yelling and screaming and finding counsel and fighting your way out. But when you're in this, you have to be quiet because you might further alienate your child. Your behavior is being watched by the courts as if you're a criminal. Anything can be used against you. Teachers are judging you. Everybody around you is judging you. So you're watching this fine line trying to save your relationship with your other children as you're being alienated, and you're watching it happen, and you're watching your children get destroyed. There's so much health self-harm going on. The suicide rates, I've talked to parents because I work in that area too of supporting others who have lost not just children, but have lost someone they love and care about to suicide. Children as young as 12 years old are taking their life. Why would that not see hope and a future for them? Why are they put in the middle? What's happened in our country and a number of other countries is that our children have become an asset, a collateral like your car. Who gets you? They have the DNA from both parents. Both parents have the right to raise those children. Israel and Sweden are progressive in making sure everyone gets psychological help and really looking deeply into that family dysfunction and breakup so that all parties can be as least scathed as possible. When you think about this, when we have children dealing with such childhood trauma, what's going to happen to them as adults? So my daughter, as she got married, I got to be there for my grandson's birth. I took care of him for 3 years, driving 2.5 hours every time she needed me and taking care of him. And I won't go into that. Then to be cut off and not even know why, all of a sudden one day, not a reason, not they're going to take have any explanation or even speak to you about it. Normal arguments, normal things, people resolve. People discuss things. You know what they did. You might have had a fight. You might have had a disagreement at looking at something. You work things out. These are healthy relationships. These are not. You're just banned and shunned. And for no reason, you don't even know what is in their head. You, and most of the time, you didn't do anything. You just love them unconditionally, no matter what they continue to do to them. But for me, after 25 years of this, it's like you have to own your life. You have to be happy. I lost one child. The pain of a living child rejecting you is much greater. It doesn't stop. It's always there on your shoulder and in your heart. It's pieces of you drift off every day. And so I see these parents, and I cannot work in that area. I thought I could. It is just utter despair. It's loss of all of your financial assets fighting this fight, which is almost ludicrous, because what I've come to find out is after all these years, the family courts are broken. They are destroying families. I just became part of a group that is, and I really don't like working through the legislature and all of this, because the needle is so slow and there's so much corruption, because this is big business, billions and billions of dollars. And if you think about it, it's driving our economy. Most people are divorced on at least their second marriage, maybe. And so our kids have two and three things. They have two beds, two TVs, two cell phones, maybe two toothbrushes, two pairs of pajamas, two school uniforms. I mean, they have double of everything. It is a huge driving in our economy. Oh, and if the attorneys solve your case, and if everyone goes away quickly and happily, they have to find new clients. They are also not educated on the law. So this wonderful group of people that are the pain of what they have been through. One person has already spent $200,000 and did nothing. Went to school on with his child, or come to have lunch with them, and he's not allowed in the school. Why? Because someone says so? Who? Where is that written when you have joint custody or 50-50? That makes no sense. But this is what people get to do, because it turns out the legislatures have no idea, or have had no idea, when they look at the laws, that there's no accountability. There is no cooperation through different counties, different courts, different areas of the courts and the law. And they were astounded, have no clue that we are all being destroyed in fighting this fight for our children. Look at our youth. Look at the kids in school being shot. Our children are really traumatized. I can't attribute it all to this, but my daughter took her life. I believe this is the root cause. She did not need this conflict. And I believe she was backed into a hole. She was acting out. She was crying for help. And she died in her father's home while he was home. And I just received new information after 19 years. And actually, I had been at peace. Okay, this happened to me. I have to go on. This is a loss, a huge loss. How did this happen in my life? I wanted to be the best mom, and I wanted to be a stay-at-home mom. I waited to have children until I could be a stay-at-home mom, helping my husband build his career so that we could go from two incomes to one income, and I could be there and raise my children. I wrote my story, and as I said, I didn't want to make waves, or there's no rights for grandparents in the state of Florida. And I'll speak to that in a moment. So I just wrote my story. It came out in May. Overcoming and the power of possibilities and moving past our situations. And then the next month, it was really the next month, I came to find out that this man knew our daughter wanted to take her life. She had made it known to him. And this man had done nothing. He did not reach out to me. He did not tell me that. He did not tell me our daughter was in danger. I had gotten her court ordered for counseling. And if that had been blocked, what secrets are hiding there? I don't know. There are secrets. There have to be secrets. and that they allowed, that's the level of parental alienation when this pattern starts, that somebody would be willing that their child would die first, then reach out to the other parent or say, oh my gosh, I'm having trouble raising this person, or what, how can we get her help? I'd gone from counselor to counselor. I had a counselor come to my house because I couldn't get her in the car because she believed that she's not supposed to talk to anybody. I mean, you don't understand the things that we deal with. And when I talked about grandparents, I wanted to say also about um, parental alienation cuts off so many relationships, maybe a whole side of a family, the other side of the family. Just like I was very close to my former husband's family, and then it was, don't you dare talk to my family and such. But who might be a lifeline for a child like my daughter? A grandparent might be, a neutral party, a cousin, an aunt, a teacher. And as I talk about that, teachers and parents of other children and healthcare workers and librarians, they might judge the other parent and think they're saving that child from the abuse of another parent when that's really the loving parent that's being targeted and they don't know. So please, you can be part of that problem too, not realizing it. Ask questions. Don't think you're saving somebody's child when you could be contributing to the behavior of the alienator and harming that child, thinking that you're doing good. So that's my message today from the bench. There's going to be many more stories here from the bench because there's so many things that we can um, talk about. I'm going to have different people that I can interview. And I hope this was impactful to you today. And in the spirit of my daughter, Erin, I hope that this created awareness for you. And there are so many people that are dealing with this. I am sure people are dealing with this because it's silent. We are silenced, not like the person in jail screaming, I didn't do this. And since my book has come out, I've had a number of people reach out to me that I never would have thought this was happening in their life. In fact, pictures on Facebook and such gave me a completely different picture. And I know that my calling, and I believe personally that I've been separated from my other daughter because I need to speak out. And if it jeopardizes that relationship, I didn't want to speak out. So that's enough out of me today. Thank you so much for watching this. Please pass this around, make it viral because we are the ones that can change it. Awareness can change it. And please do that on the honor of my daughter, Erin, whose heavenly birthday is today. And if you'd like a copy of my book or know somebody that could use that story, or if you want it in a library, please reach out to me. Oh my gosh. How do I turn this off? Sorry, I'm trying to turn it off. I'm not used to doing this on my phone. How do I end? Oh, it's so different on my computer.